Hello and welcome back to Top 10 Places. If you're a fan of high places and being scared for your life, then you've come to the right place. The world is filled with perilous, atmosphere-scraping bridges that will have you rethinking your life's choices the moment you set foot on them. And we're going to be taking a look at some of those bridges today. From bridges that are suspended in mid-air to those that bend and sway with your every step. You'll find thrilling bridges of all kinds in this video. And be sure to stay tuned for our number one spot. It's a French bridge that will take your breath away and leave you shivering both with anxiety and cold. Before we begin, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel to stay updated with our newest videos, and consider supporting us by hitting the thumbs up icon down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10. The Thrift Suspension Bridge, Switzerland. The Thrift was built back in 2004 to reconnect hikers to a hut that had previously been inaccessible by a retreating glacier. Today, it stands, or rather hangs, as one of the tallest and longest pedestrian suspension bridges in the Alps. The bridge received a replacement in 2009 that gave it higher handrails, as well as stabilizing cables to prevent it from violently swinging in the wind. But despite these safety precautions, the Thrift Suspension Bridge still offers an incredible rush of adrenaline. Modeled after Nepalese high wire bridges, the Thrift turns out to be a magnet for tourist activity after receiving its upgrade. After hiking around 1.5 hours to get to the bridge, the stunning views of the glacier tongue and the turquoise waters of the glacier lake are more than ample reward. Of course, the thrill of walking on a bridge suspended in mid-air in the Alps is a reward in and of itself. The return route of the Thrift passes the SAC Hut wind egg, after which you'll make your way back down on the Thrift gondola to Nesantal Thriftbahn, a postal bus stop. With the Thrift Suspension Bridge, it really is all about the journey. Number 9. Puente de Ozuela, Mexico. Sure, the ghost bridge that Puente de Ozuela leads to is pretty scary, but it's the squeaky wooden floor of the bridge itself that provides the real thrill. Though the bridge may seem extremely unstable at first glance, you'll be happy to know that steel cables suspended from 2 towers make the bridge extremely safe. The steel, however, is a fairly recent addition when Santiago Minguin, an engineer from Germany, constructed Puente de Ozuela in the 19th century. Those towers were made of wood. The bridge was originally used to move ore from the mine across the canyon to the village of Ozuela, which now lies in ruins. Silver and gold ore were taken to Mapimi by train for processing. At the entrance to the ghost town lies a long, paved, one-lane road up to the Puente de Ozuela. As you make your way across the bridge, be sure not to look down. The bridge sways and jumps slightly with each movement, despite the fact that it's extremely stable. However, spaces between the planks are wide, leaving you with a nearly unobstructed and unprotected view of the desert canyon below. Number 8. Capilano Suspension Bridge, Canada. This simple suspension footbridge, which was originally constructed in 1889, is surrounded by a lush evergreen forest. The Capilano Suspension Bridge is fairly narrow, very high, and extremely shaky. So much so, in fact, that the cedar planks bounce up and down on their steel cables as you make your way across them. If the bridge isn't scary enough for you, then perhaps the Cliff Walk attraction, which was opened in 2011, will. It allows you to climb across a series of suspended walkways attached to a cliff, hence the name. Stretching an impressive 137 meters across, the Capilano connects both sides of the suspension bridge park. Taking visitors from beautiful gardens skirt monumental First Nation totem poles to the quiet serenity of a West Coast rainforest. The bridge was built 70 meters above the Capilano River. To put it into perspective, if one were to place the Statue of Liberty in the canyon, the bridge would reach her shoulder. Though the Capilano Suspension Bridge may appear fragile at first, it's actually immensely strong, capable of supporting the weight of a fully loaded 747 airliner. Still, the creaking, shaky wooden planks of this bridge will shock your nerves for all 137 meters of walking. If the Capilano didn't make your stomach churn, stick around till our number 1 spot, a bridge located high in the French Alps that will make even the bravest daredevils quiver. Number 7. Monkey Bridges, Vietnam. The Monkey Bridges of Vietnam don't get their name for nothing. While they may look as though only monkeys could make it across their traditional structures, they were actually designed to carry humans. They're generally made using a single bamboo and one handrail, so be sure to practice your balancing skills before attempting to cross a monkey bridge. They get their name from the stooped, monkey-like posture that you'll have to adopt when crossing, so as not to plunge into the murky river below. Monkey bridges are most commonly erected across rivers in the Mekong Delta, though you'll also find them in the coastal regions of the Red River Delta in northern Vietnam. However, if you want to be able to experience one of these bridges for yourself, you'll need to visit Vietnam sooner rather than later. The Vietnamese government is slowly replacing monkey bridges throughout the country with more stable concrete structures. These may very well be safer and easier to cross, though they're far less interesting and are certainly nowhere near as beautiful. Number 6. Husseini Hanging Bridge, Pakistan. The Husseini Hanging Bridge of Pakistan is perilous enough to rival even that of the monkey bridges in Vietnam. Massive gaps between the planks, a wild, constant back and forth swinging, and endless creaking are just some of the reasons why this is considered one of the most thrilling suspension bridges in the world. While rickety wood and cable bridges are fairly common in the area, crossing the Husseini over the rapids of the Hunza River is particularly frightening, as the tattered remains of the previous bridge hang by threads next to the one currently in use. The residents of the Gilgit-Baltistan region of northern Pakistan were all but cut off from the rest of the country until 1978, thanks to the lack of roads and abundance of mountainous terrain. Sure, one could take a small airplane, but that was a privilege reserved only for the richest of citizens. For everyone else, the only way to travel was by walking across mountain passes to Rawalpindi. These days, regular travel through this region includes the rickety plank and cable bridges that cross northern Pakistan's mountain rivers and streams. The Husseini Hanging Bridge is one of them, crossing the Borit Lake in the Upper Hunza. This rope bridge is poorly maintained and frighteningly long, making it one of the most thrilling bridges to cross in the world. Number 5. Uban Bridge, Myanmar. We're at the halfway point now, and the next bridge on our list is the Uban Bridge in Myanmar. With no handrails, you're going to want to be extra careful when crossing this bridge, especially in the dry season when there's no lake below to soften your fall. And it's certainly not a brand new bridge either. The Uban was built almost 2 centuries ago. More than 1,000 wooden posts, logs, with about 4 or 5 feet separating each, are what hold this rickety little bridge up. Stretching across Myanmar's Tans Hamen Lake, the Uban Bridge may look like yet another rickety wooden bridge, which it certainly is, but this historic crossing is actually made from the ruins of a royal palace. The bridge was completed in 1851 after 3 years of construction. It was made with a slight curve, and the 1,000 wooden pillars that support it were hammered into the bottom of the shallow lake. The 3/4 mile long bridge is remarkably long for a wooden bridge with no rails, but it certainly cuts a striking figure. Today, the Uban Bridge is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the area, and is especially beautiful in the evening when the rosy colors of the sunset paint the scene in stunning natural hues. Enjoying the video so far? Give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another upload. Number 4. Aya Valley Vine Bridges, Japan. The smallest of Japan's 4 main islands, Shiko, is home to 3 incredible vine bridges. The originals were erected using slats of wood placed between 8 and 12 inches apart and were secured using 2 single vines. While the newer, updated bridges are now secured with handrails and wire, they're still not for the faint of heart and offer an amazing adrenaline rush in the heart of Japan's lush flora. No one is exactly sure who first built the vine bridges that span across the Aya River, though there are some popular theories, all of which are based on folklore. One popular tale says that the bridges were built by Kobo Daishi, a spiritual figure who was the founder of Shingon Buddhism. The legend states that he came to the solution while traveling in the area, and the idea became so popular that it became a tradition. Another tale tells that the bridges were originally the work of the legendary Haiki refugees, who would have constructed the bridges during their escape from the Kenji clan. The thinking was that the bridges would be easy to cut down, making the river valley naturally impassable once more. Number 3. The Canopy Walk, Ghana. These treacherous footbridges soar high above the forest floor in the Carrickmore National Park in Ghana. The net walls that rise up on either side of you, as well as the handrails, might make you feel safe, but you'll still be walking on a plank of wood no more than 1 foot wide. Oh, and did we mention that you're 130 feet off the forest floor? Found in the thick tropical jungle of the Carrickmore National Park, the Canopy Walk was originally designed by 5 Ghanaians and a pair of Canadian engineers. The designers aimed to create a unique feature that would put the park on the map, so to speak. Thus, the elevated trail through the canopy came into fruition. The walkway is made up of 7 different bridges that hang from the trees, and across more than 1,000 feet of walkway, the bridges look like they were built as traditional rope bridges using materials from the forest. But don't worry, they're actually made of aluminum, wire rope, and wooden planks. Still not scared? Our number 1 pick for the scariest bridge in the world is right around the corner. Number 2. Carrickmore Rope Bridge, Northern Ireland. Only one person has ever fallen off the Carrickmore Rope Bridge, and you'll be happy to know he lived to tell the tale. However, many visitors to this Irish bridge simply cannot handle the return journey and have to go back by boat. But believe it or not, the bridge used to be even scarier. Built by fishermen who travelled to the island in order to farm salmon, the original Carrickmore had just 1 handrail. Eventually, the rope bridge became popular with thrill-seeking tourists, and the Irish National Trust replaced it with a sturdier structure that now features 2 handrails. Today, the Carrickmore Bridge is one of the scariest, most popular bridges in the world. If you can stomach it, it'll give you a once-in-a-lifetime thrill. Number 1. Aguil du Midi Bridge, France. Don't look down at a whopping 12,605 feet above sea level and over 9,000 feet above the valley floor. You'll want to keep your eyes locked on the beauty of the French Alps at this elevation. Thankfully, the Aguil du Midi Bridge is rather short, allowing you to make a swift exit once the acrophobia, the fear of heights, sets in. Those who are truly terrified of heights will likely never even make it close enough to see the bridge, since the journey to the Aguil du Midi requires taking a cable car which climbs 9,200 vertical feet in a short trip of just 20 minutes. But if you're able to make it, you're in for the view of a lifetime. There's nothing quite like getting to see the serenity of the snowy, craggy French mountains from this height, and you'll likely never see anything like it again. That's all, folks. Now it's time for a bonus bridge fact. Did you know that the ancient Romans were the greatest bridge builders in their time? They constructed arch bridges and aqueducts, some of which are still standing today. They did so using a kind of cement made from water, lime, sand, and volcanic rock. In fact, in the centuries following their rise and fall, nobody will be able to improve on Roman techniques until the Renaissance. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like button down below and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us make videos like this. Be sure to tell us what your favorite bridge was in the comments section as well. Until next time, adios!